What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Uh, Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as you tune in and you check out the content. And in this video, man, I'm reacting to an ex NFL football player. I don't know, I didn't get his name or what team he played for, but he spoke about how if he had the chance and he had it to do all over again, he probably most likely would not try to pursue a career playing professional football. And so I spoke about this before in other videos because I've had people on my channel say the same thing, right? They feel like they're fortunate that they didn't get to play any professional sport, basketball, football, or anything, right? Because of the toll that it takes on your body, from head to toe. And we've all seen athletes who just are so beat up after their careers, like even from a physical standpoint, you be like, I don't know, I don't think that's worth it. Then when you come to when you think about the finances, 90 something percent of most of the guys who play professional sports wind up going broke within 5 years, right? And so, and I don't even think that I think that's by design. You know, if you're fortunate enough to make millions of dollars, that don't mean that you're a businessman. That just makes you a consumer. Because if certain markets are not open to you and you're not allowed to compete in certain markets, then you don't have any choice but to be a consumer. Well, it's hard to be anything other than a consumer. There are some things you can do, even if people won't. There's some ways to break into certain markets without, you don't have to worry about getting froze out, right? But you got to start at a lower level and live lower than your means. So anyway, this guy was saying that it really wasn't worth it. And becoming a professional football player is kind of like you're behind the curve, because while you're playing football, other people are learning, they might be still going to college or they're gaining experience in their field, the work that they're going to do, And so let me play what this guy had to say, his response. Remember, keep in mind, he's a professional football player, and he was asked the question, would he pursue this dream again?
Would I pursue playing in the NFL again? Let's say I was in high school, probably not. Now, don't get me wrong, the NFL is a great game, employs a lot of people. A lot of guys feed their family off of it, But me personally, I probably wouldn't do it again. Like, let's say I was in high school again, probably not. Number one, you got to be extremely lucky. It's like rolling dice, right? You got to roll a 7, let's say, 8 times in a row. And it's super rare that someone can, like, there's 1 million high school football players, and out of that 1 million, one of them makes it. That's it. There's one, right? I know plenty of guys, I played with in college that could have made it, but for whatever reason, a lot of outside of control, they didn't. It has to be the right combination of like genetics, of like opportunity and timing, of like being on the right team with the right coaches, right? And then like you can't get injured. You just can't have a serious injury. Right, but I don't know anybody who played, in the NFL at this point in their life. I'm 40 years old, who doesn't have something, right? Who didn't walk away with something, whether it be, issues from head trauma or, from joints and ligaments and muscles, whatever the case is, right? I myself had 2, shoulder surgeries, and I had a bunch of concussions, and, even I can be outside right now, like without, sunglasses,
And just think about it. When from the time that you first start playing football or either basketball, whatever sport you start at an early age, and it's not like it's a secret that making it as a professional athlete is a long shot. It's like a 1 in a million chance that you're going to be a professional athlete. But so many people pursue this, for years and years, and then when they get there, or they get close and then they don't, those dreams don't come true, then it's heartbreaking, right? So let me read some of these. Let me see. Some NFL legends haven't reached their senior years and still need a wheelchair, right? And so yeah, that's what you hear or the kind of comments. Let me see. Your body wasn't meant to be hit like that. The human body was not meant to be hit to take all those hits. I'm grateful I never made it in football. And I felt the same way. Like when I was in high school, I played basketball, right? But one year I did try out for the football team. And, I could have made it, but I wasn't, really committed. I was more committed to basketball. But it don't really matter. Either sport, man, can take a toll on your body. More so, of course, football than basketball. Let me get back to some more of what this guy was saying about you know, playing professional football.
Three is like the opportunity cost, right? While when you're in college football, and most guys know this, like they give you a schedule, and let's say you're practicing in the morning, you got to schedule the rest of your classes based off of your schedule. It's not like high school where, school is more important. In college, school might as well be an afterthought, right? Your sport is the most important thing. You know what I mean? So while other people are say, doing internships and starting careers and, starting businesses or whatever, like you spend all your time doing the sport, training and practicing and recovering and traveling. And, so inevitably when your career is over, because it will be over, right? These people are years ahead of you, that you're competing with for jobs and things like that. So, it's tough, man. Like very few people are going to walk out of there with millions of dollars. Now, as of today, it's 2026. I don't know what the league minimum is in NFL. I know when I played, it was probably a third of what it is now. You know what I mean? So it might be a little different, but I know me personally, like I said, it was a crazy experience. And I would advise people, like, if you do want to pursue it anyway, just pack a parachute. Make sure you develop some other skills because it will be over soon.
Not dead.
And so I remember when I started my first business, right? I started a carpet cleaning business. And I met this guy who had a janitorial business, right? And he was telling me we was, we got to be, really cool. And so we were talking about professional athletes one time. I don't know how we got on the subject of professional sports. I think we was talking about the Ravens, the football team, the Ravens, right? And he was telling me that in the long run, over like a 15 or 20-year period, like he was in a position where as though he made more than most professional athletes, right? Because the money that they make it in a short amount of time. So he said anything that they get, he said, I can get that and more, right? And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I don't know, like janitorial businesses make money like that now, but I know that he had some really big contracts in downtown Baltimore, a couple high-rise buildings, and he was making some really good money. And I'm like, wow, that's when I first started my first business. And I'm like, people from certain walks of lives think that, like football or being a professional athlete is the only way to go, or being an actor, right? But a lot of times, man, in the long run, you're going to make more money and be more stable than these people who have these careers. And what happens is, while they're perfecting their art, they learning how to be the best cornerback, best wide receiver, the best running back they can be. That skill is only it only applies to whatever sport they playing. Like, so once you get out in the business world, like it's no longer marketable. So now you have to learn a new set of skills in order to be successful in the job market. On top of that, you have you're behind because you don't have the work experience. You're also, you're beat up from playing the sport, right? And so, and it's like I said, it's not like these things are not known. Certain people in certain communities don't even push their kids to play sports. I'm reading comments on here that saying, like I said, people are just glad that they didn't play sports. Education is the key. And if you can't, everybody not going to be a doctor or a lawyer, but learn a trade. I know people who make millions of dollars, learn trades and make millions of dollars and was able to provide and live, really good lives with trades like auto mechanics, plumbers and electricians and stuff like that. I mean, there's so many people out here that you wouldn't even think that make six figures and more as you know, with trades. And that's what I have a trade, and I was, and I definitely made, more than six figures. Whereas though I never thought I would be in a position to make the kind of money I made, but um I'm so glad I didn't have the opportunity to play basketball or football, man, because it's all a setup, in my opinion, man. Um, you really focusing on chasing a dream that most likely you won't even be able to accomplish. It's one thing if you are chasing a dream where, and the dream is in your control, your grasp, right? Like, what if if you wanted to become an electrician, then that's something that you can control. But you don't have to try out for, you know what I mean? You don't have to audition. You have to get out there, perfect, your craft, and market yourself and go out and get business, But sports and entertainment, man, is, it's a big racket. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna check y'all out in the next video. Peace.